I would, to be serious, I would recommend that you check it out at some point.
Yeah, well, and you're right there, Puerto Nuevo and La Fonda and all those other great spots that you just mentioned. You got to head down and do some golf if you're into that. But, great central location. So what adventures do you have on the horizon for somebody that's in charge of Tales from Baja? What do you have coming up going down there?
We are planning. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, my wife, she's from Colombia. Her mom and dad, they all came up, when she was probably about 12 or 13, I think, to Texas. And so her mom and dad are coming out here to San Diego, I think in May now. And so we have some plans to bring them down to Baja to check it out. It's been, I want to say 15 or so years since they've visited the region. So it'll be fun to kind of take them down and show them some of the new stuff and some of the, the staples and everything. So that's one of the cool things that we're looking forward to. And then, we have 2 daughters. And so really Tales from Baja is a 4-team effort here because they're tagging along with us when we go down and interview different people down in Baja. Well, my oldest, she was invited with one of her friends' families to go to Cabo San Lucas. So she's going to be going to Cabo here shortly with another family. She's leaving her mom and dad at home. But,
oh, man.
She's going to have a good time down there. So some fun stuff for the Giammarinaro family.
So what ages are your kids? Because I think people are always curious about, bringing their kids down to Baja.
I have an 8th grader, a 13-year-old, and a sophomore in high school who's 15.
Okay, good. So you're obviously comfortable with bringing them down and bringing the whole troops. And, I highly recommend it. There's so much to do for everybody. I've got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and we took them down 2 weeks ago and our dogs, so that was a 5-team effort. And, oddly enough, if you're going to go down and tour the wineries, they're very kid-friendly, at least most of them are. And my kids were playing around on the rocks, the winery, and they've got all these grassy areas. And they brought out some waters for them and some chocolates. The winery is very accommodating. That was Santo Tomas, just as you get in the Valle there. And I was able to bring the dog. And that's one of the things that I love about Mexico is they're not pretentious, they're family oriented, and it's like, look, everybody's welcome here, and I felt very comfortable bringing my family. It sounds like you do as well.
Yeah, and I would echo everything that you said. Our kids have been to a ton of the wineries, a ton of the restaurants down there. They like Finca Altozano just because it's kind of have that little spread out area and that big wine barrel you can climb up and everything. It's like you said, it kind of goes back to what I said about the people. Like they are very accommodating. And it's kind of charming in a way. We were having lunch at Lomita, down in Valle de Guadalupe. This is over the summer. So it was probably 6 months ago. And, the waiter that came over, he just genuinely was interested in, hey, where are you guys from? And, asking us questions about us coming down and everything. And so to me, it was charming, and it's part of the allure, I think, of, visiting. But as far as safety, oh gosh, we don't even think about it. They have such a good time. Every year we go to Las Gaviotas for a week, but then we'll go down, obviously, throughout the year and stay at different places. The kids, they love it. I would say there's one thing to check out. If I'm sure a lot of people know about it, but if you don't, there's a place called Desert Nest at Cuatro Cuatros where you could do zip lining, kind of through the mountains of Valle de Guadalupe. And I have to say it looks pretty amazing because the story that we have was I want to say in July, this past summer, my oldest wanted to do the zip lining. She talked the youngest into doing it, who was a little apprehensive, but she did it. And we got all suited up, and they put you in a 4x4 truck, and they take you up these mountains going up this 4x4 truck. And that alone was, worth the price of admission. But you're driving up to the first area that you're going to zip line down. And as we're going up, it starts to drizzle.
Uh-oh.
And I wasn't really thinking about it, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is really kind of cool. It's raining a little bit, and we're driving up. We get to the top, and lightning goes off in the background.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And they sat us all down, and they said, we're sorry, folks, but we can't do this because of the lightning. You know, it could be very dangerous, and they had to cancel the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so my oldest, she's sitting there bummed out because she really wanted to do it. My youngest, who was like, I'll go along for the ride, I guess, she kind of looks at me, and it looks like this whole relief comes across her face, like, oh gosh, I don't have to do this. And so we had to go down and take the drive down. So we didn't actually do it, but I'm telling you, we got to the top of that mountain, and it looks unbelievable. I don't know how long those zip lines are, but they seem to go on forever. I couldn't even see how far the ending was. So maybe something to check out. It's at Cuatro Cuatros if you head down to the Valle region.
Yeah, that's some great insight. There's actually a zoo for the younger kids in the Valle down there. And you know what's also fascinating for kids in Mexico is just the normal everyday things that we do here as a whole new experience. And what I mean by that is I take my kids to the grocery store down there, and the way that they present food is completely different on most occasions than what we do here. For example, they've got their bakeries with all these fresh cookies and breads and everything, and you grab it with the tongs and you put it on the metal tray, and all these different little things that they do down there. It's really quite an experience just to do those types of activities, or the taco stands out on the street and watching them shave off the carne asada and chop it up and all those things. So, even everyday things can be fun for kids down in Mexico as a cultural experience, if you haven't done that yet.
Yeah, for sure. And, like my oldest, she's taken a few years of Spanish now. And for her, it's a little bit of practice that she goes down. She kind of enjoys. She's always a little nervous because she goes, everybody talks so fast. It's hard for me. I go, you just got to jump into the conversation.
Yep.
And so for her, it's been kind of fun. So she promised me when she goes to Cabo San Lucas here shortly, she's going to be practicing her Spanish down there. So hopefully she does so.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it was really cute. My 3-year-old, when she was at Santo Tomas playing around the rocks, there were some other kids there, and she comes back to me. She goes, Daddy, they're talking so funny. And I said, honey, they're speaking Spanish. I said, it's like Dora the Explorer full time. So go integrate.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So
those are great experiences for your kids at such a young age.
Yeah, and I guess that's the point. Don't be afraid to bring your kids down and just really have a full family immersion and enjoy it as a family. Don't leave them behind because it's a wonderful experience. So, Dominic, what's next for your show, and what's the long-term goals for that?
Yeah, a ton of people ask me about our goals for the show. What are you trying to accomplish and all this? Really, our goal is just to educate people, honestly. It's a passion project for my wife and I. We love the region, and so we want to introduce different people that live down there, people that work down there, different places that are down in Baja, and really just educate people on the region. So it's like I said, just a passion project for us. Kind of our format is, well, maybe a little similar to yours in that we like to interview people. We like to interview people that are working down there, that may live down there, but work in the States. Just talk about different types of dynamics. There's people that live in Mexico, but work in the United States, and it's vice versa. There's people that live in the U.S. that travel down to Mexico for work.
Yeah,
it goes both ways, and I think that's something that people need to hear about. I love the stories of people who have moved down to Baja to start a business, or they moved down there to retire and they got a little antsy, so they started a business. I mean, those are kind of fun stories to hear about. And so we like to share them. And so that's really what Tales from Baja is all about. And that's what we want to do moving forward.
That's great. Well, we really appreciate what you're doing as people that are big fans of Baja, we have a business down there, obviously. We have a place down there just outside of Ensenada, my wife and I. And we also race off-road vehicles down there. We've got the Nora Vintage Mexican 1000 coming up in April. So we have lots of tales to tell from our racing adventures down there. But again, we appreciate you being on our show. So if somebody wants to follow you, it's talesfrombaja.com. Is that correct?
Yes, Tales from Baja, TALES from Baja.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at Tales from Baja, Facebook at Tales from Baja as well. So all of our, we have a few podcasts that are up on our website you can listen to, and that's where we will continue to post them, and hopefully some people will check it out.
Yeah, well, we'll look forward to seeing you in person. I'll personally look forward to being on your show. We'll have to pick a topic because I got several to talk about down there. But again, thank you for what you're doing. Wish you luck on the show. And if you're listening, please tune in to Dominic and Adriana's show and check them out and hear what they've got to say about Baja as well. So thanks again, Dominic.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's show with Dominic from Tales from Baja. I love getting on the phone with people and talking about Baja. Sometimes you get a little burned out when you're down there, like, I just can't wait to get back home. And then you get home, you're like, we don't need to go for a while. But then you just share a couple stories like, well, I got to get back down there. So who knows? Maybe I'll head down this weekend. It is as easy as that. The borders have been great, so don't believe what you see or hear. Experience it for yourself. Worst thing that can happen, you can sit at the border coming home for a little bit longer than you expected, but you have the opportunity to buy all kinds of crazy stuff and see, lots of sights and sounds at the border. So enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. If you like our show, please share it with your friends and family. If you know somebody that would be a great guest on Baja Sessions, I'd love to hear from you. It's not always easy to find people to talk about Baja. I've had a lot of feedback from people that have enjoyed the show. So at any rate, thanks again. Look forward to talking to you next week.